Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Doss here, or those of you that watch this channel, whatever I say at the beginning of these videos, because I'm back to kill another one of these videos, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about the reason why I have 3 vehicles, or transportation devices, or vehicular devices, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to start it off with just keeping it real and nothing but straight facts. You know how every has the exact same story, how he grew up in the projects, stuff like that, and he was mad broke. I was never really broke. My parents, my mom and my dad had a steady job, and they were always there for me. I was never really in tough situations. We just moved around a lot. So let's start off talking about the oldest vehicle I have, and by oldest meaning my first and probably the most nearest and dearest to my heart, because I'm gonna keep it forever. This is my 2004 Ford Ranger Edge 3.0 liter V6. Now here in 2021, obviously by this September, I will have this truck for 6 years. I've had it for about 6 years now. You've heard right. This is my first vehicle. I got it first semester of freshman year, which means I basically had a truck before anybody else would really start driving and things like that. I got my license when I got my license like the earliest you can get it, because I only had my permit when I was 16 for like 7 months, and then I got my license later on that year. So I've had a license for a long time, and I've had this truck for a long time too. Now, in case you want to hear the specs on it and stuff like that, the information about it and stuff, I've had no problems with it besides a giant misfire problem. I got this truck back in 2015. It's a 2004, so that means it was a 12-year-old truck when we got it. Had 82,000 miles on it. 5 years later, I put about, I'd say 15,000 miles on it, because it's got 102,000 miles now. I did a couple upgrades, stuff like that, like more window tint, bigger tires, and then the LED lights all the way around. And this truck has been nothing but good to me, besides the giant misfire problem, because I'll tell you guys a story. One day I drove it to school, and that morning driving it, it was just fine. Everything was just fine on it. So I come back from school 8 hours later, and I try to start it up, and it's just choking, like all cylinders are misfiring like crazy. It was ridiculously bad. It was choking bad to where it felt like it was gonna blow up or something like that. It was bad. It was really bad. But I ended up changing the coil pack and the spark plugs and the spark plug wires, all that stuff that has to do with the pistons and the sparks and stuff like that, and everything is back to normal now. It's just fine. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be keeping this truck forever because it's so many memories. Obviously, even though it's only 15,000 miles in 6 years, I just love this truck, and this is my son right here. This truck is just gonna be with me forever, as long as I live. I just love this thing. I just can't get enough. I mean, this is just my baby right here. This is, so many memories, so many first times and stuff like that in here. I'm not going to talk about those. It's a little bit too exquisite. But anyway, yeah, this is my 2004 Ford Ranger. I know it's old, but it still looks good for its age. It's in almost immaculate condition. As you can see, the engine and stuff like that. Probably said that word wrong, but I love this truck. And as you know, I can't stop talking about it, so let's go ahead and move on to the next vehicle. So the next vehicle is a little less complicated to explain. This is my 2004, again, Kia Sorento EX 3.5 liter V6. Now, as you can see, this Kia, just like with the Ranger, well, the Ranger, the Edge package on the Ranger was more like an off-road kind of look. That's why all the bumpers on the Ranger are painted all the way around the same color. There's no chrome on it. And with this Kia, back in the day, this was one of the flagship models for Kia, because as you can see, this thing was loaded. Back in the day, this thing was loaded. I'm talking about sunroof, cruise control, 4-wheel drive. You got the two-tone color, the pinstripe going down. Kia was given all they had to make sure that they could compete in the North American SUV market back in the early 2000s, and they definitely did what they had to do, and that's why this thing is so loaded. Even still today, to get 4-wheel drive and a sunroof on a vehicle is quite expensive, so you can imagine how much this thing was back in the day. Anyway, this is my mom's old SUV. Now, she got it back in 2008, 9-ish with 70,000 miles. And basically she kept it all the way up until about 190,000 miles, and that's when I took over. She was like, oh, we got too many cars, because my sister had a car, I had this truck, and she had a car. She's like, I'm gonna get rid of it. I said, I don't know, I'm taking over, because I mean, I know it had 190,000 miles and it was a Kia, but I know how to take care of my cars and stuff like that, and I definitely didn't want to see that SUV go, because it's got a lot of potential. As you can see, I'm still driving it. About a year and a half, about 2 years later, I put about 11,000 miles on it. Now the only problem I had with it was a little plastic tube on the side of the coolant tank on the top of the engine broke off because it was just old and brittle and it was plastic. So I had to go ahead and replace that because the engine was almost about to overheat, and I definitely didn't want that because that would have been a waste of a good engine. Otherwise, this thing is great. It's fun to drive, and also not to mention it's a giant gas guzzler. But I love this SUV, and it gets the job done. I love it. You know, this is pretty much my go-to daily driver right here. I don't drive it too far. I only work like 2 miles away, so you know it does just fine. Even though the gas just drains right out of it, it's a giant gas guzzler. I'm gonna try to look into that. You know, but everything is just good. I've been replacing parts here and there because it's it's got 100,000 more miles than the Ranger. So I put more money into the Kia than I do in the Ranger. The Ranger just sits pretty much from time to time, but. I love the Kia, and it's my Kia. I love my Kia. You love your Kia, but I don't really like IKEA, but I love Kia. It's just my Kia. At least back in the day. I don't think they make them like how they used to now, but back in the day, you can see they were pretty solid built vehicles. So the rumors about them catching fire and stuff like that is complete bullshit. So now by this time, you're probably wondering, well, you didn't really answer the question why you have 3 vehicles. I will get to that in a second. But this last vehicle, I like to call it my credit builder upper because it's exactly what I'm using this for. You're like, dang, you already got 2. Why do you need a 3rd one? So let me explain this, right? Back when I used to work at the Ford dealership, I was kind of wondering, how can I keep my credit? How can I build my credit? Obviously a credit card and stuff like that, small little things like that would work, but I wanted something that was a for sure way. And so basically, back when I worked at the Ford dealership, I financed my first brand new car on my own, and that was a 2019 Ford Fiesta SE. I managed to figure out a way to finance the car on my own, no cosigner, nothing. So now, not even having that Ford Fiesta for 8 months, I'm sorry Ford Fiesta, but I traded it in, and I know this is the car that you guys have been waiting for. This is my 2020 Dodge Charger SXT. That's right, you heard right, the SXT, the base of the base model. Now you're probably like, oh wow, is that really even worth it? Especially for the amount I'm paying. It's more than double that Fiesta. I guess it's worth it. Of course, it's the base model, so you might be thinking, wow, it probably has nothing, but for 2020, Dodge has definitely put a lot of stuff standard that is just really impressive, like keyless door entry. You got the touch screen, the backup camera, obviously. You got the LED lights all the way around. It's a great car for what I'm trying to do, and I'm just building my credit. So I know my credit is pretty good by now because I've been paying on that white car by myself for 8 months, and now this, I bumped right up to this with not even a year of having that car, that Ford, and I already got rid of it. I feel bad, but I took care of that car. It just stayed in the garage for most of the time, just like this Charger is doing right now, because obviously I can't drive all 3 of my cars at once, but that's pretty much the reason why I have this 3rd car, is because I'm building my credit, and I just want to make sure that my credit is going well. I don't really want to have to think about it because my payments on these cars are auto pay, so they just come right out of my account. So I just want to make sure that my credit is just going like that. I want to make sure it's good to go. I'm happy with my decision because it's just a great car. It's a beautiful car. You can see I've already been making upgrades to it, the exhaust and the door lights and stuff like that. You guys seen a couple of videos and the wheels. These are 20-inch now. I think what used to be on there was 17. So I'm making upgrades here and there, and I just love this car. And this is my baby right here. Another one of my babies. All 3 of them are my babies. Now, to answer the question, or to answer this video, the reason why I have 3 cars, it's straight simple. One word for it: motivation. I get asked a lot of good questions quite often, like, why do you do what you do? Like, why do you keep getting up every day and doing this and that? And well, my answer to that, why do I keep doing what I do, is because not everybody can do what I do. We have kids starving in Africa. We got people, there's trillions of people in this world, and I'm pretty blessed to be where I am doing what I'm doing right now, and a lot of people cannot say the same thing. So what would I be like? We got disabled people, and we got things that people can't do what I do. So like, what would I be like? Oh, if I just quit the next day? That makes no sense. My family would just it just wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right at all. Why would I stop doing what I'm doing when there's other people who would be more than happy to step in my shoes? I don't have a lot, but I have a lot, but I don't have a lot. You know what I'm saying? So why would I do that? Also, but now to answer the question why I have 3 vehicles, it's just It's just motivation. That's my one word, motivation. Like, I get up every day, motivation. Like, waking up nice and early on that Monday morning, it just reminds me of school, and I hate it. But I wake up and I'm like, I gotta do this. I want to do this because I want to see those 3 cars out there. I'm only paying on the Charger, of course, but I mean, it just wouldn't. The set wouldn't be right if it wasn't for that last 3rd car. You know what I'm saying? So I have to do, and it's just, it's motivation. It's just straight motivation for me to keep going because I could have a 4th car. I don't want to. That's a lot. I don't really want to right now. I don't really have any room for it, but I could have a 4th car. You know what I'm saying? It's motivation. You got to do stuff that motivates you, in life, and you got to know. I mean, like, it's simple. Like, you don't really need motivation because you just gotta. If you're smart enough to tell yourself, hey, this is life. You only got one shot. Stop being depressed and all that stuff. Like, fix yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like where you're at, fix yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but make it work. Your motivation or whatever you got to do. I have 3 cars because it's how I like it. I just like having multiple choices to drive and stuff like that. I like it. This is how I roll. I want to have a 4th one, but I don't have any room for it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a fun video to make because I always wanted to make this video, and I'm trying to throw some ideas out there, man, because I like dancing and stuff like that, but it's kind of hard to do because all my dancing videos, all my Snapchat stories will be copyrighted the fuck up because it's nothing but music and stuff like that. But we'll figure it out, and if we don't, we just gonna keep making these awesome videos about my life because I know you guys want to see it and you want to hear it and you want to hear my voice, and I'm recording this right now in my voice, and then I gotta take these B-roll shots later on. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this DOS, that's it.